This call from Nydia Tisdale. Good morning, Miss Tisdale. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Brian Pritchard. Yes, I'm doing well, and how are you this morning? Good morning.
I'm doing great. I want to thank you for coming on with us. We do a morning show called Good Morning from the Office. We're actually doing it live, and we do it at 7 o'clock every morning live. But as soon as we're done with our interview today, we will cut this segment and put it online so we can share it with everybody. Let me give our listeners and viewers a little background. I met Ms. Tisdale several times covering events. I go to a lot of the political events during the campaign season, and we have briefly met 2 or 3 times. And the last time we met, I actually wrote a story, and it went national, state, and Ms. Tisdale since then has actually been doing a lot of panel discussions on citizen journalism, and that is what you identify yourself as, a citizen journalist. Am I correct, Ms. Tisdale?
Yes, I am a citizen journalist, correct.
Let's start this morning. Let me tell you one of the reasons I wanted to talk with you, Nydia, is this is Fetch Your News, and I have been every morning telling listeners and viewers that if they have news and they go to their city council meetings, and they go to their city council meetings or local authority meetings of water authority, whatever it may be, that if they want to put their information on my website, they can get it to me. And then I just got to thinking, you know, maybe I'm not really clear on what citizen journalism is, so I thought maybe you might tell us, what is citizen journalism? How did you get started? What were your interests that got you started? And some of the equipment you have, and just tell us a little background on it.
Well, social media created the opportunity for citizen journalism, and that's online news. It's called new news, new media, where one doesn't need a printing press to be part of the fourth branch of government, which is the media, the press. And I attend open and public meetings with a video camera, and I film the proceedings, and then I post them on YouTube, and I link to them on my website, which is called aboutforsyth.com for Forsyth County, Georgia. And then I also post links on my Twitter feed, which is at Nydia Tisdale, and also on a Facebook page called aboutforsyth.com as well. And so anyone can pick up a camera or a tape recorder or just pen and paper and write about the goings-on around them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be government. Citizen journalism covers just about everything now, and anyone can do this if you have an interest. And so it's an equal opportunity for all. I started attending meetings because I was involved in a zoning matter in a local government, and when I saw a lot of things that were not being done properly, I started taking notes and started writing about it. And then I started taking a tape recorder to meetings because one particular public official was verbally attacking me because of the facts I was uncovering and reporting upon. And so I took that as a way to protect myself, and that evolved into a video camera and filming the meetings and posting them online for others to see and others to learn.
You know, you said you went you went in on a zoning matter, and as you were on the zoning matter, you started seeing other things going on, and you just said uncovering things. Now, can you tell us what meetings, and I know these have been highlighted in the media, and you've done several national interviews and state interviews, and when you started bringing in your video camera, where were you? Name the city if you don't mind. You started bringing in your video camera, setting it up. Tell our viewers a little bit of what happened and where you were at.
At which particular meeting? I'm sorry.
When you started video meetings, and if I remember right, and I want you to share it. When you started going into video and meetings, you were told you were not allowed to do that. I mean, could you tell us a little bit about what you encountered when you started citizen journalism?
Certainly. Well, I I film in several different venues, different jurisdictions, and so some governments have been very open to my camera, and Forsyth County was actually quite accommodating to my camera. And the county attorney there actually teaches sunshine law across the state. His name is Ken Gerard. And the other places I filmed are in the city of Roswell, the city of Atlanta, just various different events of public interest. There was one particular meeting which took place on the day that the open meetings law was updated, and that was on April 17th, 2012. And I went to the city of Cumming, and it was the first time I'd ever been to a city council meeting in City Hall. First time I'd ever actually even set foot in City Hall. And so I walk into the meeting and set up my tripod and my camera towards the back of the room and start filming. Well, the mayor there, who has been in office in over 40 years now, he objected to my video recording, and he struck the gavel and he instructed the chief of police to remove my camera from the auditorium and announced that we don't allow filming here inside of City Hall unless it's for a specific reason. And I objected and explained that I was exercising my right as a citizen to record the meeting, and he flatly denied that and said it's not up for discussion, remove the camera. And the chief of police grabbed my tripod and my arm, and then the deputy chief also grabbed my other arm, and they flanked me and physically removed me from that meeting. And I left the room, the council chambers, and packed up my camera, regained my resolve, and then returned to the meeting and started recording with my still camera. It's a smaller camera, but it actually does take moving shots, and so I figured out where that button was, and I switched it to take moving video. And the deputy chief of police approached me and said, "You're not allowed to do that," and so I stopped. So twice I was barred from recording that meeting. And I filed a complaint with the Attorney General of Georgia, Sam Olens, that night as soon as I got home and unloaded my video and put it online. And within 2 days, the city of Cumming had a letter from the state Attorney General's office wanting to know what happened at that meeting. And they offer a mediation program between citizens and local government. If you have a complaint regarding an open meeting or an open record that you're trying to obtain from government and they are not forthcoming, you can go to the Attorney General's office. They have a site on their website to report complaints. And so I did just that, and they were not able to mediate a solution, which was to voluntarily pay a fine and apologize, and they were not willing to do that, and they went to court. And it was resolved in August of 2014, and the Attorney General was awarded $12,000 in fines, plus attorney's fees, which will be over six figures, and that amount remains to be determined. However, I believe the City of Cumming has appealed that ruling. I likewise filed a lawsuit against the City of Cumming, the mayor, the chief of police, and the deputy chief of police for violating my constitutional right of free speech. And that case is still pending in federal court. We're preparing for trial now. And it's almost been 3 years since that event took place. What was most unusual about the rewrite of the Sunshine Law, the update, is that it took effect upon signature. When Governor Nathan Deal signed the bill, it took effect immediately, and that was the same day within hours of that meeting at Cumming City Hall.
Well, let me ask you a question. That has created quite a firestorm in the media and discussion in open meetings. Would you describe to our viewers and listeners that are interested in citizen journalism? Now, you don't actually write; you just do video. Is that correct?
Well, previously I did write articles, and the video taping and editing and posting online, just all of that process of producing a Nydia is what I call them, Nydia's videos. And I've got close to 700 videos on my YouTube channel now, all about open government events and things of public interest. So I write very little now just because I don't have the time. I enjoy writing and I quite miss writing. I'll just write the details, the date, time, and place, and maybe include the agenda for that meeting. So my writing has streamlined considerably.
Now, what about for any and I want to bring this up because I know some of the things I've followed some of your work. What about some criticism that maybe you do get out there because you do go with your video camera to many different meetings? Are you affiliated with any political parties at all?
No, I don't donate to any party at all. I attend a lot of meetings because the candidates who have announced for office are coming to speak to the voters, and so different parties will host meet and greets. I've gone to a lot of Tea Party meetings, Republican Party meetings, a few Democratic meetings, and the reason is because there were no announced candidates on the Democratic Party ticket. However, there was a Republican candidate speaking to the Democratic Party once, and I went to go film him addressing the group. So I don't pick candidates. I don't pick and choose. I encourage voters to turn out to the polls to cast their vote, to exercise their right to vote. I feel I don't know enough about the candidates to recommend one over another, and people aren't particularly interested in my opinion on that anyway, if I had one. And so I'm going to find out myself because I'm undecided. Who would I vote for? And I want to hear them. And so I figure other voters may be undecided as well. And so if I can spread their message as the candidates request the voters to do, they say, tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, and your coworkers about this election. Remind them to go vote. Tell them our message. And so that's how I do that, is with my video camera. I let them spread their message in their own words as they choose to present themselves. So I don't try to manipulate in any way their message. I want to give it to them, to the voters, unfiltered, exactly how they choose to present themselves. So that's where I'm a little different from mainstream media, where they'll get a short snippet, and I understand their stories can only be maybe 2 or 3 minutes long on the air. If I have a 3-hour meeting, I'll post the entire 3-hour meeting, and then I may have a trailer or a particular topic that's of interest, and I might excerpt that portion of it. But I'll link to the full-length event as well, so you have options and you can see everything. And I'll often index my videos according to the topics or the speakers or the agenda, so one can easily find that topic in a lengthy meeting, and that's on the YouTube description.
Nydia, let me ask you just a couple questions in what time we have left. Now, you've done several open records requests, and I'm going to tell you, I don't say get shocked, but I get caught off guard of how many people don't realize the information belongs to the public, and that these meetings are public. So you can go in, and I do it myself, as you well know. I go to meetings, I video, and I do open records requests, but I want my viewers and listeners to hear it from somebody else that does it in another area. How do you do an open records request? Do you do many of them?
I do them on occasion. I do file Open Records Act requests, and it can be with any holder of the record, and I generally submit them by email. And one has to understand that public records belong to the public. You have a right to know what your public officials are reading and writing while they're conducting the business of the public. And there's no requirement to state a reason for requesting a public record. You can obtain personnel files, you can obtain just about any record that's available, and it doesn't matter the medium. It can be electronic, it can be your emails, it can be your text messages on your government-issued cell phone. That is all subject to search for open records, and there's no shame in asking for these records. They belong to the public. They're ours, and we have that right. The law provides for it. No explanation required. So one has to embrace the philosophy of the Open Meetings Act, and that is to foster transparency and confidence in government. And once you embrace that philosophy, following Georgia's Sunshine Laws, which is broken down to the Open Meetings Act and the Open Records Act, becomes rather simple. It's not that difficult to post a public notice where you're having your meeting, or to post it on your website, or to post your agenda. It's really fairly straightforward. One just has to understand that when you're working in government with taxpayer dollars, you are accountable to the public.
You know, I want to, do you recall when you first started doing open records requests, some of the looks you would get when you would go to the counter or ask for the information? I do, because when I first started going to get an open records request, I would get some looks from some people like, you know, they wouldn't say it, but it was almost like, this is not your information, you know, how dare you? No, that's public information. And that's what I really want to break the ice with today, is with some of our viewers out there that want to go to their city hall, that want to go to their meetings and video. And I just wanted so much to bring you in to help instill confidence to other citizen journalists out there, because now through the mayor videoing the mayor and coming, is he not the gentleman that's involved in the controversial has some controversial issues going on today?
Yes, and as a result of my lawsuit, we had discovery and we had depositions, and we asked the mayor about a particular person who attends a lot of meetings with him, and it turns out that that woman is his lady friend, traveling friend, girlfriend, and she is receiving insurance courtesy of the City of Cumming taxpayers, and she is not an employee. And that sparked a federal investigation. The FBI is now subpoenaing records, I don't think I pronounced that word properly, obtaining records about insurance information for that non-employee girlfriend, Angela Mullinex, and also the city attorney, Dana B. Miles, who is not a full-time employee. He is actually the city attorney for the City of Cumming, as well as the City of Dawsonville and perhaps other jurisdictions. But he is receiving city-paid health insurance, and that may be perfectly fine. It may not be. I don't really know, but that's what they're investigating.
So the same mayor that removed you that night, that sparked a lawsuit through depositions and your considered persistence in this matter, has now uncovered that his girlfriend gets health insurance from the City of Cumming, and she's not an employee there. Is that where that's at? I bet he wishes he never threw you out that night.
I'm sure he regrets that decision, yes. And the girlfriend's been getting insurance for a decade now, to the tune of about $75,000 in premiums, and that doesn't include any health care that she may have received. In addition to that, we don't know that yet. But yes, I was able to film the deposition of Mayor Gravett with my camera that he kicked out of council chambers. So the poetic justice was just sweet.
So you got to film it, and he was sitting there looking in the room with you filming it. Let me ask you, and I'm going to have to run, but I could talk with you about this subject all day on public records, because I feel so strong that the public should get involved and see what's going on in their local government. Let me ask you, in your career as a citizen journalist, probably what is the most challenging day you had, or the most challenging issue that you ran into as a citizen journalist?
Well, that event at Bert's Pumpkin Farm, where I was sitting silently holding my video camera, filming campaign candidates speaking to the voting public, and the meeting with advertisers open to the public, and I got arrested, assaulted, and I was booked into jail, and I'm actually still out on the $6,200 bond, and those charges are still outstanding. I don't know what will happen with those, but that was the most terrifying and frightening event that's ever happened to me while I was just sitting quietly holding my camera. And the governor was there, the Attorney General was there, he actually commented and spoke out against it, which luckily you were there to capture his comment, record it, and broadcast it, because I missed that speech. And I was actually there to film him because I had filmed everyone else on the picket earlier in Roswell, but he was not there. And so I made the road trip up to Burt's Farm to record, and I was ejected for really no cause at all. And so it was just egregious, and that still resonates with me. I am still very timid about going to certain meetings, and I sometimes will ask someone to go with me because I'm fearful. I'm unencumbered. I don't have the protection of mainstream media, so that's a little frightening. One thing I do want to mention is that there is a guide that's put out by the Attorney General's office. It's called Georgia's Sunshine Laws, a Citizen's Guide to Open Government. It's a free publication that has been produced by the Attorney General along with the Georgia First Amendment Foundation and the Georgia Press Association. It was printed in January of 2014. It's free, it's available, and it was my book and my passport, if you will, to citizen journalism, because that's where I learned what my rights are for recording open and public meetings.
Give me that name again, Nydia. Give me that name again. Citizens Guide.
It's called Georgia's Sunshine Laws, a Citizen's Guide to Open Government. It's known as the Red Book. It's also available online on the Attorney General's site, and it's also on my blog, and I've also tweeted it and put it on Facebook. So it's a really helpful guide. It breaks it down into layman's terms, and it also has the actual language of the law.
Well, let me ask you now, in the interest of time, and I appreciate that you've spent this much time with me. I want you to tell the difference, though, or what is the presumed difference in what filming a city council, going into their local city council or commissioners meeting or water authority versus going to Burt's Pumpkin Farm. What is the difference in those two things? And I want that to come from you.
Certainly. The Georgia Sunshine Law applies to a governmental agency, which is a city council meeting or a county meeting or something to do with government, or subcommittee meeting that has been appointed by local government. And so that has a narrow oversight. And at Burt's Pumpkin Farm, that was a political campaign event. It was advertised online and in print in the local media for being open to the public. Now, Georgia Sunshine Law doesn't apply there because that's not a government. However, there were certainly public officials speaking to the public, and it was advertised as a public event. And that is Burt's Pumpkin Farm is a public venue. And so they are in the business of creating memories, and people come and buy pumpkins and take hay rides, and it looks like actually a very fun, family-friendly place. Their policy online states that they do not allow guns and they do not allow pets. Well, I didn't have a gun, I didn't have a pet. All I had was a camera. And most people with a smartphone or any type of cell phone in their pocket have a camera as well. And there was no ban on recording, on filming on cameras. There was nothing published, nothing promulgated. There was no notice to the public that you're not allowed to record this campaign event. And I was there just filming as I always do, and for some reason someone decided they didn't want me to record, and I don't quite understand that.
Nydia, one more thing before we leave, and let me make a brief comment to anyone listening out there. We really encourage citizen journalism here at FetcherNews.com. The public does have a right to the records. When you walk in your city council, when you walk in your commissioners, your board of education, take your video camera, set it up, put your recorder on, turn it on, take pictures, and it doesn't matter what kind of looks you get, don't worry, you have the right. If there's something you need to know, ask the question. And if there's a piece of paper you want, tell them you want it. But when you go to somebody's property, and I, for one, I was with Miss Tisdale that day, and I was invited there, but we're not going to get into that because there's legal things going on there. But when you walk into somebody's property, kindly do some double checking and make sure you're welcome and invited. And I'm not questioning anything, Ms. Tisdale. I was there, and I don't want to spend time on that. I'm just telling our viewers out there, like you did, when they go to somewhere outside of a public place, there's other things that take place. Ms. Tisdale, I want to close today, and many have asked me. I get phone calls all the time. I'll get text messages. Where's that thing stand with Nydia? Where's that thing stand with Nydia? And because I wrote that article that day, they questioned me. So has it never went to the grand jury over in Dawson, the Burt's Pumpkin Farm situation? Has that never gone to the grand jury? Nydia, I've lost you on volume. Are you there?
I'm sorry, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Tell us, has that gone to the grand jury?
No, it has not gone to the grand jury. It has not been resolved. The charges are still outstanding. I have not been arraigned. I have not been indicted. So I don't know where the charges stand. Nothing has happened to my knowledge. I was told I would get a notice in the mail of a court date, and nothing has yet arrived.
Okay, so it's just still open. You're not aware of anything right now. So you're still on a bond, and you've not heard anything from the grand jury, and no court case at this time.
Correct. Yes, I'm still out on bond, and if I leave the state of Georgia, I have to report in to my bondsman and alert him that I am leaving Georgia, and I still feel like I'm under state arrest, if you will, because I'm not at liberty to just leave. I have to actually report in to someone.
Are you not pushing them, like, hey, this is an inconvenience in my life, somebody tell me something, or what I mean, how long are they going to let this sit up there?
I wish I knew that answer. I have no idea. One other thing I'd like to share with you is that on my YouTube channel, I have filmed training sessions regarding Georgia Sunshine Laws. So I have filmed Stefan Ritter with the Attorney General's office. He is the Senior Assistant Attorney General, and he gave a training session in Gwinnett County, and I filmed that, and that's available on my YouTube channel. And likewise, I filmed the attorney for Forsyth County, Ken Gerard, and his video is on my YouTube channel. So both of those are available, and they're very informative and helpful for understanding your rights as a citizen to attend and to record open and public meetings, and to request open records of your officials and of employees. Records of employees of government are subject to open records search and retrieval, including, again, cell phone data, emails. If you work for government, everything you do basically is a public record with very few exceptions.
Okay, well, Ms. Tisdale, I want to thank you very much. We're going to link your YouTube channel to Fetch Your News, because we have been asking people to get involved in their local government, and if people are out there interested in citizen journalism, and we're going to link her YouTube channel, because this lady, she knows what she's doing when she goes in, and you do want to take pointers from Nydia. Nydia, what are you currently working on right now before we close? Anything you're working on at this time?
Well, I recently filed an arrest warrant against a woman in Forsyth County who did not allow me to record a meet and greet, which was advertised as open to the public, and that happened last year in April, and I was hopeful for an apology from this woman. She actually struck my arm and grabbed my camera, and my video recorder was recording her doing that, and so I had to take that to magistrate court, and they will proceed with whatever they do next. And so that was recently in the news again. And I shudder that just the average citizen is getting treated this way when all they want to do is hear from their elected officials and their announced candidates, and to share their message, which is what they asked us to do. And so I'm still fighting battles. And actually, in her interview with the detective there in Forsyth County, she was mentioning a county commissioner against whom I filed a state ethics complaint almost 4.5 years ago, because he failed to disclose his real estate holdings, and he had about 80 properties, and he reported about half a dozen properties. So we discovered that. I filed an ethics complaint, and that is still outstanding. That is still yet to be adjudicated by the State Ethics Commission. And his name is Pete Amos. He's the chairman of the Forsyth County Commission. And in the interview of Peggy Green, she mentions Mr. Amos, Commissioner Amos, and he was not there at that luncheon. He was not there at that meeting. So I feel there's some sort of retaliation for me filing a state ethics complaint as to the reason why she ejected me forcefully and physically from the meet and greet of the Republican women at Forsyth County luncheon meeting to meet candidates, which is also likewise advertised as open to the public.
Nydia, we can't thank you enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link your YouTube channel for people to go and see your citizen journalist training videos and several things you've got going on. And if you're out there this morning, we've been interviewing Nydia Tisdale, citizen journalist, and my most recent work from Burt's Pumpkin Farm is when Miss Tisdale was removed there forcibly that day at a political rally. So that's how I know Miss Tisdale, and I brought her on this morning to hopefully share some light on citizen journalism so you can look into your local government. Nydia, I'm going to see if our viewers have questions. I'm going to get back to you. I'll be in touch, and I'll get back to you and try to maybe plan something here in the near future to ask a couple more questions and highlight a couple more things that you're working on. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pritchard. I enjoyed being on your show.
Oh, I always enjoy talking to you, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you, Nydia. Have a nice day.